Do you have days where you know you've done the absolute most, yet you feel like you haven't done enough, even though you've been 150% productive? You know that feeling? That feeling of guilt where you feel like you just have to give a little bit more, even though you've given your all. You may think it's helping you get ahead, but it's actually getting in your way. You're listening to This Woman Can. I'm your host, Janice Sutherland, where I help mature professional black women take charge of their careers and lives to create a future on their terms. Everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of This Woman Can. I am your host, as always, Janice Sutherland, the career and life strategist for the mature black woman. And this is the podcast. I like to think that this is the time you get a chance to have those real conversations about life, work, and navigating this wonderful, fabulous second act of ours with purpose and passion. Now, this episode can probably go hand in hand with my previous episode where I spoke about creating boundaries. And it's kind of on that lines, but this is about productivity. And I want to say how it came about. I had a meeting, an initial compatibility chat with a potential future client. And we spoke about all the things she was doing at work. She was a mom. She held down a business. She was trying to navigate her adopted family and so much more. But she kept, the level of work she was doing was pretty phenomenal. And I could see it in her. And I said, it's okay. You can stop. You can slow down. You don't have to be giving, every single minute 150% productivity in your life. And not almost, I could see the look of relief on her face and her shoulders just relax a little bit when I said, give yourself permission to just slow down. And I know a lot of us are really familiar with that feeling. You know, that feeling like you're doing the absolute or you're not doing the absolute most, I say. You always think there's a little bit more you could be doing. And no matter how much you're doing, somehow it's not enough. It's just not enough. Well, as I said at the top of the show, you are not alone in this. And I want us to tackle that feeling of help you overcome that need to feel like you have to be overproductive. But I want to understand a little bit about where does this come from? Why do we feel like this? Well, we obviously feel guilty. We feel guilty when we're not constantly productive. And for many of us, especially as Black women, this runs deep. We have been raised in a world that tells us that we have to work twice, three times, 10 times as hard to get half as much. And unfortunately, that message really sticks. It's definitely ingrained for me. And I know I struggle sometimes just to slow down and take a step back. It's like we're carrying a checklist with us at all times. Be excellent, be available, be strong, and don't forget to smile while you're doing it. Again, does it sound familiar? Society loves to reward that hustle culture. You've got to be doing something and the perfectionism. But the reality is, this mindset is exhausting. And I'm not going to make any bones about it. I'm a little bit older now. What I could do when I was in my 20s and 30s, the speed I could run at then, is totally different to what I can run at right now. But when we don't feel like we're hustling or we're going 150 miles an hour or whatever it is we're doing, that guilt starts to creep in and we start to think, am I slacking? Am I doing enough? Am I letting someone down? What will people think? But let me tell you something right now. This guilt isn't yours to carry. It's a result of societal expectations. And the great thing is, we have the power to unlearn it. So I want to get specific. Let me get specific because I know some of you are thinking, okay, but what does, I want to give my all. I want to look like I'm doing the best and I have to put my best foot forward, which is great. But what does what does overproductivity look like in real life? And I'm going to talk about it in the workplace. And with some people that I've worked, and I've changed their names in order to protect them, but you will get the general gist. So let me talk about Tasha, for example. She's the one who is always the last to leave the office. Even when her work is done, she's worried that if she heads out at 1 minute past 5, if she's not there till the lights come off, or the last person out the door, or the cleaner has, said, look, it's time to go, her colleagues might think she's not dedicated. Or there's Simone, who says absolutely yes to everything. Needs someone to cover for a co-worker? Simone's got it. Needs someone to plan the office party? Simone's your go-to girl. And all this while her own to-do list is threatening to swallow her whole. Then there's Jada, who spends hours over preparing for meetings, questions that people will never ask she's prepared for, while her colleagues show up with scribbled notes. Jada's got a PowerPoint, a handout, a backup plan. Why? Because she's the only Black woman in her department, and she feels like if she's not 150% prepared, her expertise will be questioned. Do you see the pattern here? Do you see yourself here? For many of us, the pressure to overperform at work isn't just about meeting deadlines. It's about managing perceptions. What will they think of us? It's about proving over and over again that we belong and that we're competent and that we're worthy. And that pressure, let me take a big deep breath there. That pressure, it's exhausting. So let me get real with you. Let's put this in perspective. That constant push to be 150% productive comes at a cost. It impacts our mental health, our relationships, and remember I said I couldn't move at the speed I was moving at before? Even our physical well-being. We know this. Look, we know this deep down, but even when we're tired, when we're dragging the last, we still struggle to give ourselves permission to rest. Why? Because rest doesn't feel earned. And that, my ladies, my friends, is the lie we've been sold. Here's the truth. Rest is productive. Taking a step back doesn't mean you're falling behind. It doesn't mean you're being lazy. It doesn't mean you're being derelict in what you need to do. It means you're recharging so that you can keep going. Sometimes doing less is exactly what you need to do more of. And that's what matters. Hey there, fabulous listener. Are you over 50 and feeling stuck, undervalued, or just plain ready for a change in your career? Well, I've got something just for you. Introducing 50 Forward, Fearless Future, powering your next career move. This group coaching program is designed specifically for Black women like you, dynamic, experienced, and ready to tackle the next chapter with confidence. Together, we'll break free from fear and self-doubt, build unshakable confidence in your skills and abilities, learn practical strategies to land that dream opportunity, and create a career path that's as fulfilling as it is exciting. Plus, you'll connect with a community of like-minded women who get what it is to be on your journey. So if you're ready to stop settling and start flourishing, head over to janicesutherland.com and sign up for 50 Forward, Fearless Future today. And don't wait, your fearless future is calling, because you deserve a career and a life that's bold, brilliant, and authentically you. So how do we move past that guilt? Let me get real with you for a second. This constant need to overperform, this constant need to be 150% productive is something we have to work on. And we have to remind ourselves that we're not machines. We're not here to prove our worth through exhaustion to the last ounce of energy. So let's break it down. Let's start with, first of all, ask yourself why. When you feel guilty for not overperforming, ask yourself where that guilt is coming from. Is it your expectation or is it someone else's? Secondly, redefine productivity. Taking a break, as I said earlier, is not laziness, it's self-preservation. If you're exhausted, burnt out, and resentful, How effective can you really be? Third, set realistic expectations. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to be the go-to girl. Prioritize what matters and let the rest go. 4, celebrate the small wins. Did you rest today? Did you set a boundary? Did you not say yes to something you didn't want to? Remember, that's last week's episode. That's a win. And lastly, remember the bigger picture. At the end of your life, will you wish you'd worked more hours, or would you wish you laughed more, lived more, and rested when you needed to? It's a simple question. So here's my challenge to you. Here's my challenge to you this week. I want you to let go of the need to overperform. Just drop it. Give yourself permission to do just enough. You'll always find your just enough is probably more than some of the others in your office, whether it's at work, at home, or even in your personal goals, your personal life. Trust that what you're doing is enough and that you are enough. And if you find yourself struggling with guilt, remember this. The world won't fall apart if you take a nap, log off at 5, or simply sit and enjoy a quiet moment, because you are more than your productivity. You are worthy of rest, joy, and balance simply because you exist. The world will keep spinning and you'll be better for it. Now, if this episode spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Come on, share it with with a friend or a colleague who needs to hear this message. And let's keep this conversation going. Tag me on social media and let me know how you're breaking free from productivity guilt. So until next time, remember, if I can, you can, this woman can, and she doesn't have to burn out to prove it. Take care. Thanks for listening. If you got something from this week's episode, please let me know. Better yet, share it with your friends, colleagues, and anyone you know who can benefit from this message. Don't forget to subscribe or write a review and connect with me at my website, janicesutherland.com, where you can also subscribe to the This Woman Can newsletter or connect with me on LinkedIn. Remember, you have the wisdom, resilience, authenticity, and power to create a life on your terms. And if I can, you can, this woman can. Take care until next time.